Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the FN Story. Joined alongside a great professional Fortnite player and content creator, Middi. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I got no complaints. A little toasty in my house. I'm trying to avoid turning on the AC, but it's starting to get
Yeah,
upwards of like 80 degrees, so I might
it's like
sweat during
it's
this.
like it's like 77 in my room right now. That's why I'm wearing a tank top.
I feel you. I'm wearing sweatpants, but definitely should throw on some shorts. Either way, I'll just sweat. It'll be okay. What what you been up to recently?
um, Not particularly like grinding the game, just because I'm not having as much fun as I used to. Like this, like past like 2 weeks, I've been getting like extreme. I'm in like an extremely bored state, so I've been like hanging out with a lot of friends from school and whatnot. But other than that, not much. Oh, I just went to San Diego and snuck into TwitchCon a little bit.
Uh
Um,
oh.
just running around downtown, talking to people, and yeah, met some people from like my past like tournaments and shit. So
Awesome. How was San Diego? I heard TwitchCon was a lot of fun. I mean, you see all these stories about like the top people being weird and stuff, but for most of it seemed like it was a great time just going to hang out with friends.
um, yeah, TwitchCon was super fun. I'll tell you, the security was not high level. I literally just opened the door. I was wearing like a tank top, so you can see I have no badge clearly. And I just walked right in with 10 people who all didn't have badges, but yeah.
Okay.
It was super fun though. We walked around for like 4 hours, and like all the booths were cool. I saw Aussie Antics, but homie was like 300 feet away from it. He took a left, and we like chased him down, trying to talk to him, and then we just couldn't find him. And then
Damn.
I saw my brother. He worked for OTK, and then so I said what's up, and then I don't know. We were just taking pictures all around. And we got some food. We got food there too. You didn't need to like scan badge or anything. You just had to pay. But um, other than that, TwitchCon was fun. Downtown at night is very fun. Like I love city life. It's always been like one of my favorite things. And then we also went cliff jumping at like one of the best spots in San Diego. It's called Sunset Cliffs. It's a pretty
Okay.
safe spot, but it was super fun. Like all my whole friend group jumped, so that was cool to see. Even the people I thought that wouldn't jump. So it was fun.
Hey, a little bit of peer pressure, you get people going, but that's good to hear. I've heard San Diego is absolutely beautiful. I've never
It
been
is.
been out that way, but I wish I could at one point. Where are you from? Like, not
I'm from
exactly, but
I'm from Orange County, so
okay,
I'm south or no, I'm like I'm south of Los Angeles, but I'm like in the middle, like but between those two, San Diego
gotcha.
south, Los Angeles north. So
Okay.
I'm in the middle, so I can go to both. Like it's both like an hour trip,
Oh,
by
so
like
it's
by car.
yeah, it's a nice little trip for you out there, and glad you were able to
Yeah,
make it in, even though it doesn't sound like it was the most secure event.
yeah,
Monster was also saying when we talked about it on the Fortnite podcast that there was just like people. It's that meme when people are going through like patting down and just not actually
yeah,
doing anything.
yeah,
It's like yeah, no one gave a shit. There were some people that actually cared, and then everyone else like yeah, I get paid $12 an hour. I could not care.
yeah. I mean, so I saw like a bunch of celebrities that like snuck in. Like I ran into Gideon like day two, but yeah, that was funny because I don't know how the hell he got in there. He was wearing someone else's badge. It was like a Japanese name, but that was funny.
Hell yeah, good for him. You said you've been getting bored with the game recently. Why is that? Like, why have you not necessarily enjoyed playing Fortnite?
I feel like since there's nothing to like grind towards this season, like everyone's just bored. Like I like yesterday was like a big rampage of people saying it is like
That
saying
was
like
wild.
yeah. I mean this update definitely does kind of suck. Like I don't know, throwing. I like the idea of just like putting random stuff back in the game, but I don't know. With like no FNCS this season, like I'd rather just make the elite cups as like skillful as possible. Make sure like the people who deserve to win are winning. And now we're probably gonna see people who just like padded on height 3 out of 6 games and somehow won, or because pads kind of like yesterday I was watching I was playing the elite cup of course, and every first second moving were just random like zero earned players just padding on height, landing on it, and then 6 of them would build fight all the way to the top. And then I just wait till third moving, go up, and I pretty much win. But or they have height the whole game, just depending on how it goes. But I don't know. I think I hate chaotic metas only because or just dumb metas where everything's like a bailout because pads are a bailout that can easily get you a refresh. Snipers are the worst thing for the season because the scope is like 3 times easier to use than the old one, and it's ridiculous. People don't like the new scope, but it's literally so much easier because they have these lines in between the scope where it's like depending on how many, like if you understand it, how many meters far away you can use like the little black like dash lines to hit the head. Just line it up perfectly, and it's ridiculous. It makes it so much easier for like a bad player who's never used snipers to use them if they understand it. Like I don't know, but yeah, I'm just kind of bored of this season due to those reasons.
It makes sense. And you touched on it, but yesterday the Twitter feed for most of the pro players, it seemed like only in NA. Maybe there was a couple EU players, and then once the NA Elite Cup started, people just started going on one of like this game sucks, it's boring. And it feels like we get that fairly regularly every, X period of time. There becomes
Yeah,
just one person tweets it out and then someone else is like, oh, I feel that same way, and they continue to go and go. And sometimes it feels like it's helpful and other times it feels like it's just ranting. But uh, I always feel that that is helpful for people to vent, but it also kind of sucks, right? It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing for
yeah,
people to get their thoughts out there, so that way they're not just like growing in frustration and one day explode. But it's also a bad thing because if you have all these professional players who play the game for a living and people look up to talking about it, then they're all shitting on the game. It's not a good look for the game itself. But
yeah,
I don't necessarily blame the players if they're constantly being given things they don't want in the game. And I think this is kind of what we're trying to figure out. And I don't know that there will ever be a point where everyone is happy. And I think we're
yeah,
figuring out that the less movement makes more people happy, and more movement makes less people happy, which
yeah,
I didn't think would be the case, but it's starting to seem that way.
yeah. I don't know. I think like right now, I agree with some pro players. I know some pro players have, like everyone hates the idea of it, but I don't even like this mode. But I feel like a no build FNCS would you know put the game in its like place and just kind of like set viewership up for pretty good. Like I feel like if we ran a no build FNCS, we'd definitely get like 250K like viewers on Twitch day of grants because we haven't had that in a while. It's usually like 100K probably. I think last one was 100K on Twitch or I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
for
it,
EU,
it fluctuates. I mean, you normally get like the broadcast at anywhere from 12 to 20, and then Aussie hangs around that similar thing. There's been some seasons where he's more, some seasons he's less. And
yeah,
then we have less and less people streaming it. So it seems like there's now those two outlets, and that's it. And then like, on EU you got Boop as well, and there's other people that do viewing parties and
yeah,
things like that. But the two steady ones are the broadcast and Aussie, which are pretty easy to gauge. And it seems
yeah,
over the past few seasons they've been, I guess past season it seemed to be down, but a no build FNC, why? Like I don't know. To me, the zero build as like a comp purist, if we do that, that's a slippery slope where we may never get back to the game that you're good at, that you've started playing. And say zero build FNCS is super successful and gets you 250,000, 500,000 people watching on Twitch. Why the heck would they ever invest money in like the regular competitive mode again?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, for I don't know. I personally like well, I'm not even like a no build like guy myself. Like I enjoy builds more, but if I'm talking about like the health of the game, I think it does need one. Only because like to the average eye, like even all the people I talk to in my friend group all say they enjoy watching that more than builds. Probably because of how chaotic it is and like how easy it is to just die in 5 seconds, or but I don't know if they actually like if it was like no builds was like number one like priority over just regular builds and whatnot. Like it could be still mixed match with pubs, but they would listen to the community to a like an extent, just how they do with builds. They don't go that far into it, but they try to listen as hard as they can with what they have. But if no builds did that and it like became less RNG but more like game sense based, you know, I
Hmm.
think it'd actually be a decent mode. And even if and try it out for one season, and if it goes extremely great, then you trial and error it, and it's something new and it's working. Run another, and then if that keeps going well, run another and another. Pros are gonna have to adapt because if they just make every cup a no build cup, and the money's there, everyone's gonna get a no build. Like people like Blur, Pilkey, and them like they aren't good at no builds because that's pretty much what they played for a good season. So you give the pros a few months, people who are better at adapting than lower level players that are pretty much only good at no build. They're gonna adapt at a much faster rate, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, and after that they're gonna be adapted. They're gonna know how to play the game. They're gonna know how to play that mode, and then everyone's gonna be on a fair level of playing pretty much. And like maybe Blur and them and those type of players are still the best at it, but people are gonna catch up with time, and then it's actually gonna be a competitive mode to watch, and it should be fun.
Well, I guess I have one question for you then. Do you think that the reason the competitive mode has gotten boring or lost interest from like a viewership perspective is because people don't want to watch how like crazy and sweaty people get, and then if you get the zero build and just continue to advance the meta and how good players are in that, will we get to a point where then it zero build no longer resembles the zero build that most people play? It becomes something different because everyone's so good at it. Do you think that would be a problem, or is that not even worth thinking about until you try it?
I don't know. I don't think it's worth about till you try it, but also like wait, what was like the first quarter of your question? I forgot that part.
Basically, it seems like the interest in competitive has died out because the game is so much different at a high level of competitive
Yeah,
than it is like what most people play. And
yeah,
do you think that would happen within zero builds? And then I also kind of gave you the cop out of just like
yeah.
screw that and throw it in anyway, and we'll see what happens.
I'm in my opinion, we have so much room to grow in like the competitor we have now. So much room. But I don't like if I was the marketer for Fortnite competitive, like and I was like the one running the show, like I could have this run in like a couple weeks, getting people hyped and stuff. But I'd also have to be in control of putting money into regions and all that stuff. But like that's the thing, competitive doesn't have that control, which is like why they're kind of just limited to the resources. And I know they try their hardest. Like it's not like the Fortnite competitive team isn't doing their best with what they got, but they're literally trying to build this from scratch with how like I've heard from other like competitive like the competitive team like on how limited their resources are. But other than that, I don't, I don't know. It's like a sticky situation. I just think a Noble FNCS would be great for the game right now. With the resources they have, they do have the ability to make next FNCS no build, but do they want to? Like that's the thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And maybe they could do something right after all the lands that are upcoming too in December. They
Yeah,
don't normally do things at that time. Normally it's just a dead time from like December, January, and then start things back up in February. But there could be a possibility. Maybe like a zero build winter royale style thing. Get
yeah.
people on it. But I think your point was to broadcast that and kind of allow people to get that stage and spotlight that FNCS gets.
I'm
Interesting.
really I'm really surprised Invitational is only a 1 million prize pool considering we didn't have an FNCS this season. I thought they would just like try to go not all out, but make it like 10 million, 8 million, something around that number. But 1 million, that's not NA East prize pool, right? That's EU, but like 300K
Uh,
less. I
about
think.
I
I think
know
EU
that
gets 1.3 or something.
Yeah, the first place is definitely less than what EU is for first place, I believe.
Yeah, which is like kind of crazy to me. Like you should be putting a lot more attention to your land than like like a previous FNCS or. But yeah,
I think the other piece though is they're flying people out, they're allowing them to bring another person, they're doing the venue, the stage, all this stuff. So there's millions going into it, not just into the prize pool,
yeah,
um, which you also have to take into account. But it does seem a little strange that there seems to be tons of money made in Fortnite. If we just look at like back at the beginning of the year when they started raising funds for Ukraine in like those 2 weeks, it was something
44
ridiculous.
million.
Yeah, in like 2 weeks. So you think you throw out like an FNCS skin that could easily like crowd fund something like that if it's a
Yeah.
good one. Obviously they could throw out a dog one and no one buys it. But I agree with you. I think it's for my perspective, it looks like the Invitational is all a test. It doesn't look like they are ready to fully dive back in. And I think it's a test to see the viewership. I think it's a test to see the people that actually work for Epic, what they're able to do. And then it's also a test for Blast as a production team that is helping put this on. And
Yeah.
it's been 3 years since this has happened. And then we also have two Dream Hacks right after that. So to me, this whole year for Fortnite has kind of just been like, all right, let's try this, we'll try this, we'll try this, and now with the divisional thing, the divisional cups, that seems to be the biggest test, besides the LAN, trying to find a way to make regular competitive Fortnite
Yeah.
players simulate a competitive Fortnite game. So that's how I see it. I don't think that the Invitational is this massive event, and they tease that they'll say something as to what's to come next. So, any thoughts on what you think they're going to announce for next year?
Hopefully, fucking mixed modes because I'm so tired. Like I think the community like Fortnite competitive took a huge hit when we started doing trios all year long. Like I think after the second season of trios, we just dropped like like we halved to the viewers in grands. They literally halved. Like people were just so bored of seeing the same players play together and just like Fortnite not really caring about storylines. So that also took account from viewership. People don't know like who they should root for because they don't know the story behind these guys. But I think if Fortnite's gonna do these same game modes, you have to put some production into storylines because or else it's just not that entertaining. But I don't mean storylines going like the bare minimum and just be like Kimmy and Seti, they played together the past 2 seasons, got this and this. I'm talking like, you know, go to their freaking house, go record like gameplay, like something like how BL does their videos and stuff, like recording how they prepare. That and do that for multiple regions. Do that for the top duos, the top trios. I know it costs money, but I'd rather you take out 200K in the prize pool, spend it on those trips, and then get way more viewership. So comp in the future is gonna get a bigger prize pool due to the more viewership because they're I guess their prize pool actually depends on our viewership from what I've heard, but if that's true, we would want more viewership so we can get a bigger prize pool. I'd sacrifice 1 season, 2 seasons with a lower prize pool so they could actually put so much into production that FNTS is actually enjoyable. Because right now, I don't find FNCS like grands like that entertaining. Only due to the fact is the first 20 minutes of the game, I'm literally watching nothing other than people shooting their gun 200 meters away. And like I can see to the average eye, like a casual player, why it just doesn't make sense to them and they click off in the first 10 minutes because they don't want to watch that. They don't
Yeah.
even probably wait till endgame.
It's a big disconnect as to how to keep the games interesting. And it's also, I know, speaking to some of the team and trying to understand what could be done, you want to show everything, but then there's also opportunities where it's just dead time.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're watching a surge fight between like 45th and 48th, and it's like, all right, no one cares.
Yeah.
And that fight, as you have to talk about it as a caster because it's what's going on, but at the same time, like you don't really. Sometimes you just continue talking about whatever's going on, and you could
Yeah.
care less because you realize that there's zero significance in that. But what you said about the storylines, I think that is the biggest challenge that Fortnite is going to have with the Invitational, Dream Hacks, and into next year. If I've been saying this a ton, if they don't do something that builds the character, builds the personalities of their players with 3 straight weeks of LAN events, there's zero excuses, literally no reason not to do these things. And if they don't do this, then no one is going to have buy-in to care, because you
Yeah.
need people. You need to care about people. And we've shown that orgs are taking a back seat. No one really cares about orgs in Fortnite. They're kind of just there to be there. And if you're not building, let's say a Middi, telling the story of Middi, why people should care who you are, what you do outside of the game, how much you play, and all this stuff, right? I don't really care to watch a character on a screen for 6 hours every single weekend. And
Unless you have like that, like, like, like interaction with them, like you like personally know them type thing. So I'm
yeah,
saying like, the storylines actually matter.
yeah,
Some
and
people overlook them, but they do really matter for like players because if the guy that's watching you doesn't know who you are, in 5 minutes of you just sitting in the box and the caster's talking about past events or whatever, they're gonna click off. It's just too boring to watch. There's nothing happening for them. They don't, and some might not understand the game or like how comp works, so they'll click off as well. But I feel like the average comp player is gonna go just click on Ozzy's stream and just be like, all right, let's hang out here. He's actually talking about he's talking about drama and all this or whatnot.
yeah. And I think one of the pieces that Aussie does that you'll never see on the broadcast, or I mean, maybe we will in the future, is talk about when things go wrong.
Yeah,
Because, thinking about it, when last week, I'm a football guy. Do you watch the NFL?
yeah,
So when Chris Jones strip sacked Derek Carr and then got called for roughing the passer, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck were talking about how egregious of a penalty that was, how it's a bad call, and how that should not be in the game. Like, you'll never hear a caster talking about what should or shouldn't be in the game during a
yep,
broadcast.
yeah,
And I get it, right? I'm cool with certain pieces of that where I'm okay only talking positively about players, but we should be able to talk about when they make dumb plays. We should be able to talk about when things go wrong
yeah,
within the game. And Aussie provides that of more like a real person understanding and
yeah,
conversation. Um, so sometimes he is like a better place to watch because he's just hanging out watching Fortnite and it feels like that. Whereas the
yeah,
broadcast doesn't necessarily interact with people. So
yeah,
if they've started to do some of these like online, like what we're doing right now is I'm interviewing you somewhat and then throwing those pieces into the broadcast at times, but they don't feel to me any significance. And I hate
yeah,
to say that because I know people have put in effort, players have taken time to do these things, but I don't. You want to be more. I'm a big proponent of taking the UFC model of building up the players in a sense like every single fight's important, every single person's important, and trying to share those moments to make it feel that way. So yeah, there's my little rant right there.
yeah, yeah.
So are you going to any of the LAN events coming up?
I bought a plane ticket for Invitational, but like I don't know. I don't particularly want to go. I have two friends going, Rays and Pars, my best friends, but I met Pars in San Diego. He stayed with us the weekend. But like super chill guys, but they're gonna be practicing and playing most of the time they're there. They're Pars and Rays are like the hardest workers I know. They don't like post particularly a lot of content or stream what they do, but they literally are in a call together so much out of their day and they're practicing so hard for Invitational. I know they're not gonna want to like go out and run around the city on scooters at 1 a.m. in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're gonna want to make sure they get enough sleep, practice, and all that. So I don't really have friends that are going. I mean, I have like, I have, I could stay with Saven and Turtle Tavern and Airbnb, but I don't know. They're like 21, bro. They're gonna want to go to bars and shit, and I can't. So like, I understand like what I'm gonna going into. So, but yeah, like unless some of my like 18, 17-year-old friends are going, I don't think I'll go because just 'cause I'm not gonna have anyone to hang out with. But I know the event would be cool to watch at least. But
Yeah,
I don't
fair
know.
enough. If you do come, we can hang out. Um, I'll definitely be there. It's in my backyard. So, what are your expectations? You were talking about Pars and Rays. Where do you see them as far as within the group of players that are going, and what do you think their ceiling is, and where do you think their floor is as far as placements?
Um, I think they're ceiling.
Like,
Do you mean
what do
like
you think
ceiling being like
the best that they can place, and
okay?
what would be worst case scenario for them?
Right now, they're in a really weird spot because they were laying the Zuki split right below Bugle, with
Okay.
like that little strip split. That is now chromed, and that is, you know, not the greatest spot now. Now it's like being like people are splitting it into like Pars's old split, which is the left of Bugle, which is where you went like the first season, like Spider-Man season, and so now they're mixing those two, but there's already an EU team landing there, and Pars and Rays aren't particularly the greatest fighters, so I don't think they'd beat an EU team off spawn. I mean, at least not like most, like the majority out of the 6 games, but or 12 games. But I think if they get a spot, a good spot, at least with 20 chests, like I think they have a chance at top 10. I think their best place is probably like top 10, but um, worst case scenario, I think like you know, and like it's worst case for everyone. Like if they get con last minute, then they could just get dead last, you know.
Yeah.
But right now, Pars just doesn't have a spot, and he's conning Scented at mid map
Oof.
right now. Yeah, and there's 3 teams there, so it's like right now I do see him getting like near dead last, only because he's in a very rough spot, and he's fighting really good fighters, like you know.
Yeah.
But
And one
he
of
is
the
very
go
good.
ahead.
You go. Yeah, you got it. You got it. I was just
um
gonna.
yeah, one of the Asian teams just said they're landing mid map as well after not planning to land there.
Oh,
So
so 4 teams now. That's good.
it'll be interesting. And now with all the movement, it's not a great spot to be if you're not looting quickly and getting the heck out of there,
Yeah.
because Coney will come over, Shifty will come over, Tilted can see you pretty much the entire time. So not the best spot. It used to be awesome because all the coolers and you have the vault if you land on that eastern side, but mid map is not what it was last season, especially with all the balloons. But who knows? Look, they could change before that even happens, and that's
Oh, it'll
irrelevant.
change. It'll change. I think we're having like one update like the week before Invitational. It should be good since the Chrome's spreading and it'll go into more POIs, you know?
I guess
We
that
love
provides a
that.
little more balance that everyone gets the chromes. So if you want to play
Oh
with
yeah.
them, you
But
have them.
if we only have one more update, they've showed like Hypex leaked like the phases of it. So if we have another update, I think it's like Bugle gets full chrome, Sleepy gets chromed, and then Tilted gets chromed. So those POIs are gonna be screwed, and then the left side of the map and the bottom left is just gonna be like, let's go, man. I have guns, these kids don't. You know?
Yeah,
Like I can't imagine leaving my POI with like a blue Evo Chrome shotgun and like having a smile on my face. Like I'd be like, okay, I'm screwed this game. Like I actually can't see the crosshair on that gun. I don't know who came up with it, but it's wider than the body of a player, but like the two biggest parts of the crosshair in the middle are just so unseeable. They're on like on an actual body because it's I don't know. I
you
don't know
ever
who came up with
play?
that crosshair.
You ever play Apex Legends?
Yeah,
It's literally the Mastiff.
it's literally just the Mastiff.
Yeah.
Except the Mastiff is good. Like, yeah, I
uh,
can actually mute the Mastiff. This gun doesn't put down damage. I was
yeah,
using the gold one the other day, and I was hitting like 120 headshot, like max.
bro, it's the tac shotgun. It's literally the tac shotgun, just
Yeah.
reskinned and different. Um, but I think someone showed the damage fire rate was all the same, and now you can just upgrade it. But in this meta with the Prime, and now even I'm seeing more people hold the Ranger.
Yeah.
Don't know that that's the best. The Evo Chrome is the best shotgun. Nonetheless, expectations for Invitational. Now, for you as a player, one, who do you think is going to do, like, who are a couple teams you think are kind of locks for that top five? And then do you have any surprise picks for someone that you think will do really well?
I think a surprise pick since they're Connor now, Scented. They actually believe they could really do well. Only because like I know how hard they're like practicing right now, trying to do well. Um, and then hmm, I think Cammy and Seti are very good at land. Or it's not Cam, is it Seti?
Yeah,
It is
setting
Seti,
Cammy.
right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think those two have a really. I think they're locked in for top five. Um, I think Commandment and Avery are another surprise team. They're actually really grinding right now. They're just not streaming and doing, you know, but people don't realize it, but they are grinding. So I think they have a chance at top five, and then hmm, other teams. Oh, Epic Whale, of course. I think they could. I think they'll probably get top five, and then Malibuca, another team.
Okay.
Those are like my expectations for
Yeah,
top five.
it's hard to pick right now, especially because we just mentioned map changes happen and the drop
Yeah,
map has now
exactly. Yeah,
changed.
so much could change.
So, I mean,
Like,
players will continue to shift things up. I'm sure some people are lying as far as where they're landing to. That I would probably do that if I was conned. Like, if I'm conned at my spot, I'm not saying I'm going there and I'm just dropping there game one and then surprising somebody. Uh,
yeah,
take that slight little bit of advantage. But I think all those teams can do well based on what you said. Um, one of the teams that I just watched was the best team coming out of Asia. It was Runa and People Clip. They are
yeah,
surprisingly good, and
yeah.
not just in a way where you're kind of throwing off another region and they're just like, oh yeah, they're the best in another region, but they seem to be so fundamentally sound that, having not played, the only reason I don't see them doing well is like nerves play into a factor, and then obviously the off spawn stuff. I don't know where
That
they're
and the
landing.
playing field, like I feel like yes, they are like they. If you watch them play Asia tournament, I know Runa. You said Runa, right?
Yeah,
That guy, he's crazy. Like I like watching them because Asia is actually a fun region to watch. But especially for how intense they get during grands and stuff, it's fun to see. But I think Runa has a good chance at like top 15ing, but I don't think they could even fit into top five. The playing field against NA East and E players is so different. Like I played at Sweden, right? I played at DreamHack Sweden.
right.
That was the hardest event I've ever played. Like the one I had to try the absolute hardest in order to do as well as I did. And I got like 50th in finals. I got conned, but like it was so hard fighting players. Like the difference on how players fight in that region in like NA East Pros compared to like West OCE Asia is insane. Like I don't see any teams from other than Epic Whale, I don't see any teams from like one of those outside three regions doing that great.
Yeah.
Only because the playing field is just so much harder on those two regions. Like it's like people don't realize that until you actually do it for yourself. Like it's insane.
I think Runa and Pipo being the one like outlier to me, I think they're probably the best from one of the smaller regions. Um, Not including Brazil, because I kind of put them up there with NA West. They're like right behind NA East in Europe.
Mm.
Um, but it'll be interesting to see. And then you got Muzz and Looter, who are like an NA/OCE duo. I don't necessarily know that they count for OCE, considering how much experience they've had. It'll be
Yeah.
a cool playing field to see, because I was talking to Sundown about this on the last podcast. The NA and EU players have like a certain idea of how games should be played, but all these other regions, they have dominated their region for a lot of them a really long time, and they kind of forced the will of their gameplay onto a lobby. And I'm wondering if that style of play is going to surprise certain players. You have
Yeah.
someone doing something that you, like Middi, would never expect someone to do in a tournament, but this team's been doing this for a year and a half now, and now suddenly you're freaking out because you're wondering what the hell's going on, and by the time you
Yeah.
know it, they've already won, the fight, the high ground, whatever position they're going for.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, just a little side tangent. I thought that was Sundown brought that up. It was an interesting point because there are different styles between the regions of play, and typically how like the right way to play is kind of morphed by region. But I would like to talk about, you got a poster on your wall. It says Team 33. There
Yeah,
was
I need my mom to take it. It's like nailed in, and she does like this like drill thingy. I don't want to like strip the wall, but I told her I want to take it down soon, but she doesn't really have time enough. But
all
I'm
right.
trying to get it done.
So talk to me about what happened, because we've seen some stuff on Twitter about people leaving the org, and there's pretty much been nothing from Team 33 that has
Oh,
said
there's
what is going on.
pretty much. There's been nothing. There's just nothing. But yeah. So for the year that I've been on 33, this is a big story, but for the year I've been on 33, Tyler Gallagher, the owner of 33, and he's in control all over social medias, and he's never trusted anyone enough to give them the social media. A little odd in my opinion, because if you're like a middle-aged man, you don't know much about social media. I would give the Twitter to someone who actually knows what they're doing. Let's get the Twitter booming, daily tweets, engagement, all that. He didn't really care. He just cared as long as we got paid every month. But so every like month or so, he'd go on like a business trip, but we didn't know it was a business trip. We just call it that because he would be gone for like a week, and we don't know where the hell he'd be until after his trip. He'd like DM us right after his trip, like, "Yo, what's up, guys? Went to Dubai, went to Middle East." He was always in the Middle East, like usually at Dubai, but I guess, but yeah. So you do that, and like, so we thought this one was just like, oh, maybe he's gone for like a bigger break, but there's articles coming out, and I guess like it's like $180 million lawsuit against his company that he owns, Real Assets, which is, I mean, you'd have to do the research on like what the company is itself, but I guess they're taking percentages of people's money that isn't supposed to be taken, just like super fucked up. But um, that's like what the articles are reading, and then there's past articles coming out of Tyler saying he's done all this like scam stuff, and that like people are from Real Assets, like clients of it, are like upset that he's running this Team 33 in the background of it, like while he's doing all this shady stuff for his actual company. And I was like, so I told Joe, I was like, I need the salaries of every player right now because I wanted to see if it was true, because I was explaining it to my parents, and I was like, and they were like, "Sounds like you guys are a tax write-off." I'm like, maybe we are. And
Probably.
so we're like right below or right above this tax bracket. So if we go up like another like $50, he's gonna be in like a 25% tax bracket, which is crazy because he's making so much a year. He's paying a pretty good amount of taxes, but um I was like, wow, like we are a tax write off. Like he actually made salaries with like these individual numbers with them. Like I was getting paid $1,337 or something, like a great weird number, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think on an actual word like 1,300, you would just say 1,300. You wouldn't put the $37. It's a little odd to do that. But I was like, wait, why do these numbers add up? And then they added up to the number like right below this tax bracket. I was like, we are a tax write off. So I've come back. I'm 99% sure we were one to him because he runs multiple, just like money events where he throws money into a month so he can save money on his actual company. So now that his actual company is in like danger, of being like destroyed, he's not putting any work into his tax write offs. Like they're all MIA currently. So like that kind of just explains like where he's been for the past month. He's probably just worrying about that. But yeah, but I'm not gonna say Tyler's a bad person because I don't know if it was him or it was like an inside man in the company that was doing all this shady stuff. But for the year I was on 33, and I saw it, like he was super genuine. He treated everyone as well as he could. Like, and like he did all the, like you probably heard about glitches and stuff. Like he always surprised people with money, and it was his favorite thing to do. Like super genuine guy, and he actually cared about when people placed. He'd give me random calls after tournaments and just congratulate me or my teammate. But he was a super genuine owner, probably the best one I'll ever have because But I understand why he's gone now because like if your company's in danger, go focus on that. It's your biggest priority. But I wish he would have given the team a statement if it was him or not that was doing all the bad stuff that was happening to his company. But or just give us a statement saying, "Is our org ending or are you coming back?" I'd love to hear that. But yeah,
All right.
it's like the
So
whole meh about it.
there's a lot to unpack there. You said quite a number of things. You brought up. So I have not looked into it personally. I'll take your word. I assume you got no reason to lie to me about what research you did about him. Um, but then you also said he's a genuine guy, and I guess I've heard that same thing from a number of people within the organization. It sounded like, at least to everyone in Team 33, he was a good person. He did make payments on time up until this last one, right? And
Yeah, the
then,
last 2 months.
okay. So up until the last 2 months when he just disappeared, everything seemed to be okay. He just didn't want to give over any control of the organization, as far as helping it grow to what it really should have been with the number of players on the roster. Um,
Yeah,
and
could have grown a lot more.
that piece you mentioned about like just being under that tax bracket, there's a lot of people running Fortnite orgs or similar business ventures that do that same thing. So like that's
Yeah,
not that surprising. And he's just taking advantage of US tax code and how those things work.
yeah, it's not even wrong. Like if you look at it as like in a business perspective, like it's not wrong because it actually it helps him save money. Helps him make more money actually. But you know, I completely understand why we're under that. I just wanted to see if it was like if he was intentionally paying this amount but he was. So like I saw why.
Yeah, you
But
guys all got salaries for like a year too, so you can't really complain about that. Um,
exactly.
when was the last time like you heard or anyone in the org heard from him? Because it's been two
I'll check my phone
months,
right now
2 months
because
without payment. Has he said anything as far as what's happening?
no, I mean like literally nothing. I call him a lot. I used to call him a lot. So last time I talk to him every day. By the way, I text him every day. The last time I got a text from him responding to me, August 26th, midnight. It's the last time I heard from him.
Okay.
And then I texted him every single day after. Yo, 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 hey, how you doing, bro? You haven't been here in a while. Blah blah blah. Keeps going on. And then I'd skip some days because like he's not responding to me. But I just texted him last night and called him. But yeah, he changed his voicemail. It's like some robot one for his company. It's not his like usual. Yo, this is Tyler. Hit me up. Whatever. Different one now. So, but yeah,
Damn, that kind of sucks. It looked like it was too good to be true when
it did.
Team 33 had what, like 40 players on it at one time, and
Yeah,
everyone's like, "Oh, we've seen this before." But I guess the difference between this one is everyone was calling Team 33 a scam org, and they are. If they haven't paid you what they've been
yeah,
contractually agreed to, that's definitely screwed up, and I hope you guys wind up getting paid. But
yeah,
a lot of times there's been like the TCE one, right? They paid the players up front and then promised another contract that never happened. There's This seems like a less shitty version of some of the ones that have happened in the past. And I don't want to say it's not bad. Clearly, this is
yeah,
fucked up, right?
yeah,
But at the same time, at least people got paid, and the worst thing that happened is we missed a couple months of payment. I know that's your time, that it's important, and you guys should value that and try and recoup
yeah.
some of those costs if possible. um, but I'll take, if this is the worst thing that happens within Fortnite compared to what we've seen over the past few years of this, I'll take it.
Yeah.
um,
In my opinion, it's really not as bad as it seems. I think most players didn't get paid this 1 month. Other than that, it was just a couple people from last month on the manager side and coaching side that didn't get paid their salary. But all the players I think got paid. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like missing 1 month of payment if he's on a trip or whatever or going through this lawsuit and he comes back in a week, like we're all gonna we're I like I'm still I'll still probably go back to 33 because you know I don't like it was good salary. I was getting paid on time. I was waking up to surprise money gifts and stuff. Like that's what people don't even look into. Like I think every single player that has been on 33 has been like I'll just say glitched because that's how he calls it, but has been glitched 3 or 4 times. So you're making like 2,500 off those 4 glitches probably.
Jeez.
So if you miss 1 month of payment, just take into account that you probably got glitched a good amount of times. And if you're getting paid a high salary, you got glitched a lot more than the lower level players. So I don't know. They should still be thankful. Like, I don't think there's a lot to like. I don't know. Yeah, we got scammed, but I don't even want to call it scammed yet because like if he's like he's so out of touch with like the gaming scene. That's what the people don't understand. It's like he talks funny only because he doesn't know how to like keep up with like teenagers and stuff, right? Like in the trends and like the things they say, the terminology. He's not really from that like era, so he's out of touch with like gaming reality. So it's really hard for him to keep up with it. So if he misses 1 month of payment, he has no idea how Twitter's gonna react. So if he comes back in a week and it's just like, oh shit, what have I done? Because he doesn't check his phone unless he's talking like he's got like 5 different phones for 5 different reasons. Um, but yeah, if he comes back in a week and checks his Twitter phone, he's gonna be like, oh shit, that's not good.
Yeah, it's
And,
gonna
and
be a
he'll,
little rough.
yeah, uh,
Um, Now you said in your free agent post that you're looking for an organization as a player, but also a manager. What are
yeah.
like your aspirations there, and have you done anything in the past?
Um, I've managed a bunch of like e-commerce stuff. Like I know how to run like business in general. I'm like one of the quickest learners out there. So like if you told me to go make a clothing brand, I could do it in like a week. Like literally, could do it with $1,000. I could make one in a week and have like a little launch. Like I could do it. But I'm just super fast at learning any skill that I need to learn. So if they want to, like, if an org wanted to hire me as a manager, I'll manage whatever they want me to, 2 weeks, and I'll guarantee them more engagement, whatever, because I can just learn that skill so fast. And I've already learned like social media management skills pretty fast because my brother has been doing it for 4 years. So talking to him, also learning off of him, been kind of easy. So he runs all of like OTK's social medias. So and that's like a big job. Those are like big streamers, and he has to make sure he can't slip up. So and he also has to stay on top of algorithms and whatnot. And but yeah, so I learned a lot off of him. And then of course I want to be signed as a player, but you know I'm trying to make money here. So like if they want a different job, I'll do it because as I said, I'm kind of bored with the game. I wouldn't really care if I had to stop playing to go pursue a different job. I just want to be in the esports industry, to be honest. So and I understand I can't get like 90% of like actual esport organization jobs until I'm 18. So you know, hopefully I get signed until then because trying to make money. But yeah,
Okay,
once I'm
interesting.
18,
You could definitely get some good experience working with an org and just understanding a little more than the player side of it. And it sounds like you have, based on your experience and also from your brother. Your brother probably had one of the most difficult jobs a couple weeks ago with all the crap that was going on with
missed it.
OTK
Yeah,
too.
he was super worried about that. He was
Yeah,
stressing out so hard. He did not come out of his room,
my
yeah,
goodness, I do not envy that because that does not sound like fun. Trying to make something that is a terrible scenario and like spinning it in a better way when
yeah. Especially like he's the one seeing all like the comments and stuff. He's like, he's the one clicking like the Twitter noties, checking like, and you just see all the people talking bad about the brand you're running. You know.
yeah, it's got to be tough. But respect to him. Seems like he's at least somewhat on the other side of it and made it through. And back to you and the general Fortnite. So player Middi, management Middi, we'll find you something. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. But the one thing that with Team 33 leaving, there's a massive influx of free agent players.
Yeah.
And a massive decrease in the amount of players being salaried. And it almost seemed like Team 33 was helping so many people make this sustainable, being able to play Fortnite for a living. And now, with pretty much no one to pick up that slack, there's a massive hole for players and people within this space to
Yeah.
try and continue to make it. Have you, like, where do you think Fortnite players are going to go now that, I mean, I guess there's probably 20 to 30 players that were let go within the past few weeks or left?
Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're 18 and above right now, and you're not living with your parent, or you are living with your parents even. I don't know. I feel like most people are either paying rent or most people's parents are pressuring them to get a job. So you're not making. I don't know. I don't think Fortnite. It's what we're in 5 years into the game,
Yeah.
and we're not really seeing any signs that we're going to be staying like much longer. Just I mean, like not seeing the like same signs you saw within like other games like CS:GO, League of Legends, those type of games that stayed around for even though they were dead for a couple years here and whatnot, kind of like how we are in a spot now. They still like climbed out of it with like signs of them like putting more work into their competitive side, and I mean it's working for them. Like they're still alive, running pretty well, but um, I don't know. I think with how Fortnite competitive team doesn't have control over much of competitive, like um, it's not going to be sustainable for a lot of people like that have like are in a pressurized like age situation. Because if you're 14, you can keep playing Fortnite. I would suggest it too. It's like you could if you want to make money every Elite Cup, little $200 here and there. That's great for a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16 even. But once like I turned 18 in July, so like but I also have aspirations of wanting because I want to become super successful. I want to travel. I want to do all this stuff. So obviously I need money for that. So I want to have enough money to the point where I can travel by 21, just go around for a couple of years, you know. So I'm trying to make enough to that point. But if Fortnite's not doing it for me in this next like 8 months, then like by the time I turn 18, I want to like have something figured out with what I'm gonna do because unless Fortnite starts booming in lands or 4 times a year, and they're quadrupled the prize pool, and there's a better chance of less qualifying for it other than just Epic Whale, like then yeah, I'd probably stick to Fortnite, and I think orgs would come back too if there's a lot more money, and then Fortnite got involved with orgs. Like it'd be a lot for Fortnite to do to make this game sustainable for other regions players other than EU, because some NAE's players can't even like sustain enough money to pay for themselves. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. And it's also a lot of work to be able to do
Yeah,
that. Um, unless you're like EU definitely has it slightly easier because I think it's probably top 7 make 50 grand or
yeah.
around there. So it's like, okay, that's
It's like
almost enough to survive for a year, depending on where
and
you
like
live.
15th is making like 20 grand each. So like like you're
Yeah.
making that, and you make it like if you're a top 15 team 2 out of the 4 seasons, that's still 40 grand a year. you know. And if I'm assuming if you're getting top 15 in EU grants, you're pretty much signed, probably on a 5K plus salary here. So like you're making well off for in Europe. So but yeah, I think it's a lot easier in Europe, especially with the orgs and how much money they make.
Yeah, well, it's the biggest region. Like, there's no,
Yeah,
it's not just a coincidence. It's because there's the most money in that, there's the most viewership, there's the most player base. So
uh,
naturally, everyone is going to be there. And there are other opportunities for players to make it outside of just being a player, but that's content, that's streaming, that's putting out YouTube content, that's making
yeah,
TikToks, Instagrams. And one thing that I like to say is everyone should be doing that. You seem to be someone that puts out content somewhat regularly,
yeah. Not on TikTok, but yeah,
but at the same time, it's not freaking easy. Like, to be a top level player in this game, you need to be grinding the game, and
yeah,
then to be a successful content creator, like I'm trying to do that myself. That ain't easy either. It's a lot of effort and work. So I understand why players don't do it, and I think it's a lot easier said than done to tell people just like record your games or something like that. Um,
Yeah,
but there is opportunity, especially if you can do both, to become really successful. And we've seen a number of people like that throughout the years blow up. But I think we're well past the ninjas, the Benjis, the mongrels, and now we got the Buckies, the Clixes. Who else? I guess Malabuka is probably the most recent blow up that we've seen, and he's still nowhere near at the level of the guys that I
yeah,
just mentioned. So yeah, it's a tough gig, man. But I think by the time your birthday in July, we'll see what's going on next year. We'll see what the announcement is at the Invitational and where things are going, and hopefully we'll have one major event already happened within the beginning of the year, and then hopefully
yeah,
we'll be able to look out for more because I'm with you. It's starting to get a little scary as to the writing on the wall within Fortnite.
yeah.
All
I don't know.
right.
I think Fortnite content needs to like come back. Not that, but like Fortnite content viewership is so down right now, so low. It's like I think it's like the lowest it's ever been. Like even like I heard like didn't like Rice Hub like post like pictures of his like videos like they used to get like 20K views last season and now they're getting like 2 to 3,000 or something like that. I'm not 100%, but like I heard there was like I saw something on Twitter about that. But like I'm seeing the same thing in like Fortnite. Like my Fortnite highlight videos from last season, like 3K views, 2,500 views. Now 600 views, 500 views, and like I'm doing like the same algorithm. Like I'm posting at the same time I usually would, same tag, same person like posting it. It's just like the views are so down for Fortnite right now.
So let me
I don't
ask
know.
you, because I've definitely seen that as well, and I think it was Reese that brought that up. Um, but do you think that people are just getting bored of the same content being put out over and over again, and now it's just who cares at this point? Because how many montages or tournament highlights can you watch until you get tired of it?
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean it I don't know. It's so repetitive. Every Fortnite content video from a pro is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's either them rotating through first moving for the first 5 minutes of the video, and then them getting to the last minute and them slaying out, killing people. But after you watch something like that 200 times, you're bored. You don't want to watch any more of it. Highlight videos, that that varies. There's a lot of people that I know like it's like 50-50. There's a lot of people I know that like love watching highlight videos, that love watching other players and their play styles and their clips. Or there's the other, 60%, probably majority that just don't watch highlight videos anymore.
That's
Maybe,
me.
maybe, maybe like the video for their friend, gas it up, whatnot. But they don't watch it. Though, which is why like you go to any Fortnite Pros video, you actually like ask them their analytics, like you'll only see like oh they only watched the first 15 seconds and they clicked off, and it's so repetitive. It's like no one's watching your first, second, or third minute. They're watching the first 30 seconds, and if they don't see something crazy or crazy reactions, they're clicking off. Especially now with algorithm Tages, man, it's miserable. Fortnite content like ever since algorithm highlight videos came out for Fortnite, because it's like the only thing it happens only in Fortnite. It's the same editing style. There's nothing different. Every EU player channel, same thing. Yarn VFX or whatever his name is makes the same highlight video for 100 different EU pros, 100 different NAES pros, and it's the same video, same song. Because this song's trending this week, this thumbnail's trending this week or whatnot. It's the same video except different clips. That's all it is, and it sucks because that I mean I feel like it's not even like it's not even like mostly on Fortnite's fault on like why competitive content is dying. It's just because like we players, we do nothing to try to like make ourselves unique to other pros. Like we don't even try. It's not even like but in like Apex, you have like fights over Twitter and stuff of like who can make this content, who can make that content, stuff like that. Like, oh, Imperial's the only person who can post that type of like montage. If you do, you're just copying him. And they're arguing over Twitter over it. Like the pros are arguing who can post their content and whatnot. Like they're actually fighting for viewership while we're just, posting shitty fucking one pumps. You know, I don't know.
Sounds like you figured out what's going on, and now it's as one of the players, it's up to you to try and fix things. Um,
It's so hard though, because it's like it's also, but it's I think it's Fortnite's fault on like it's so hard to even make unique content within Fortnite. It's really hard, especially on the competitive side. Pubs, a little easier, but competitive, so hard. I can't sit down and play 30 minutes of arena without just like my skin itching and telling me to get the hell off. Like, and especially in this season too, you don't even have to make champs. There's nothing to work towards.
I feel
And
that, man.
and getting elite in any other region other than Europe is so easy. So like there's nothing to watch for these other 6 weeks. Like I don't know. It's just ridiculous on how they formatted this season. 9 hours of tournaments for pretty much $200 going to 80% teams on either region, other than EU, which is like 60% make 200. But other than that, like it's so 9 hours for $200 is miserable. But especially for how much you're playing to grind for those 200, it's not even 9 hours. It's just 9 hours of tournaments. Like you're still warming up for an hour. You're still scrimming every day. We're playing for the bare minimum here. Like, and it's hard. Like I think it's really hard on the player's mind. Like, you know, I just worked my ass off 20 hours this week, and then I only made $200. I'm not happy with myself because, like I should be, putting in, like I might put on like I don't even know, bro. I'm so mad at this season. I'm so bored with it, bro. Like, and I see it in every other player. I don't see anyone laughing, having fun. It's so hard, and there's barely anyone streaming the tournament now because we've gotten to a point where stream sniping is just unbearably bad in tournaments. Pros just fighting other pros because they have drama, and it's I don't know. Competitive's in a very rough spot. I want actual lands to come back, like ones that we have to like actually work our ass off towards. Like there's no time for fooling around. It's all serious, and you have to put in as much work as possible to make it. But this season is a joke in my opinion. There's nothing to work towards. After the first week of Elite, you got nothing. I don't know.
I feel like the cup system could have worked, or the divisions could have worked, but it needs some tweaking. I think that it. I know you do have to scrim outside of it in order to be one of the top players, but I think the purpose of Fortnite putting this out there is to provide practice and at least a regular competitive experience that people want within the game rather than having to search out those third party scrims. And to an extent, the divisional cups do that. But I also do get your point. You are playing. It's more than 9 hours. Because you
Yeah,
normally play a half hour, 25 minutes to the end of the game too. So each tournament's like 3 hours, 15 minutes. So we'll call it 10, just to get there and play the tournaments. And it's got to be tough,
it's not even
especially.
that. It's like I'm okay with playing stacked ass games where I actually have to focus on hitting every tag and stuff. But I'm even watching EU and it's first zone and there's 50 people left, and then the rest of the 50 just sit in their box on game, and there's nothing happening. Nothing. They don't. There's no surge ticking. There's no pressure for these players to even move out their box and go do something. And this is on EU. Imagine it for West, East, OCE, Middle East. Middle East is miserable. I was 20 people like first zone. That is crazy. I was watching the game. They had like 25 people high first zone, and it's like ridiculous because like even if they lower the points from 4-2, people don't care enough to not key because the game is just so dead. Like if I was playing 10 out of 10 games and they were stackers, bro. Like, I'm talking like 90 up first zone, and like you have to hit every tag. And then once it's first zone, you see a bunch of fights happening around you center zone because everyone didn't get enough surge, so they're all fighting. There's actually action going on. And say 4 out of those 5 fights are being streamed by like one player or something. There's something to watch at least. Like. And now after the first week of Elite, these past two have just been so bad. Like I was watching it from San Diego, and I was just watching I clicked on Batman Booga stream. This guy was sitting in a box for 20 minutes with 40 up for his zone. I'm just like I don't understand how people can even pull enough viewage to watch that because it's just so boring. And I don't see, and there's obviously no one wants to watch a guy just boxed up doing nothing, you know. But
Yeah.
that's what I
Do
don't
you
know.
do you blame that on the players though? Because the format seems so placement heavy that
No, obviously it's not on the players. It's not on the players. It's just on the format. Like it's max placement heavy. So the first 60 people that die because they tried fighting for a zone just to get kills and they die because of it. Um, they might be screwed on points a little bit, but they still have 9 other games to play. Like, I think 10 games in 3 hours is fair, but like in the format now, it's just kind of like if you mess up 4 games and you get enough placement, since it's so placement heavy, if you get 3 top 5s, you basically qual. Like it's I don't know. Which is why I go back to my point. Like I think no builds would be so freaking good because it's action throughout the whole game. Like people are always shooting each other. You always hear shots. There's never like a dull moment where people are just sitting. Oh, I mean, there's obviously like that 1 2 minute span where people are in a bush waiting for next zone to come in. But after that, someone just threw a shockwave from 100 meters onto your head, and now you're all scattered, and now you all have to shoot fucking 1 or 3 different squads. It's actually like super entertaining. And yeah, like from a player's view, sucks. Like if you're in a bush and you get shockwave out and no builds, you're screwed pretty much. Like any zone because you're just in the open. It's really hard to come back from that. So, but from a viewer, super fun. It's just super entertaining, more action,
yeah, it
which is
makes a
what I
ton of
think Fortnite
sense.
needs.
It's the regulated pace of play that has really slowed down, and the organic pace of play in zero builds is much more regular.
Yeah,
Whereas you get the off spawn on like a competitive, and then you get surge tags until fifth zone, and then you get an end game. Um,
yeah,
and then you'll
and
get
it's
surge fights along the way, but most of the time the teams taking surge fights are the ones that are irrelevant on the leaderboard. So
yeah, and it's so repetitive too.
yeah,
Like compared to any other battle royale, like their games, like each game runs pretty much so differently. You don't see like like obviously stuff similar, but like in Apex, like different parts of the map are like top left side of the map in Apex is like harder to play than the bottom right because but in Fortnite it's just so repetitive to the point where like how to play every zone. You like because you just play it so much. Like it's so I don't even know. I don't know what could fix Fortnite, but I don't know.
it's okay. I'll let you ponder that one, but let's finish up and wrap up with something on a more positive note. Um, we've been doing this for over an hour now, so I greatly appreciate you taking the time and thank you. First of
Uh,
all, in wrapping up, what do you got coming up? What's Middi going to be up to over the next few months? And if people want to find you, where can they find you?
um, yeah, I'll probably still be competing unless I get a job as a manager, but I'd hope to compete until I'm 18 at least. But yeah, you guys can find me at twitch.tv/MiddiFPS, and then my YouTube's just Middi, and then Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all Middi. But I just don't post as active as on TikTok as I used to. But yeah, those are my socials.
All right. And where's the name Middi come from?
Oh yeah, I'm the middle child. So I wrote out the word middle because I just want to see. I was just testing stuff, and I was like, okay, the L at the end looks a little too tall. Like it just looks like it doesn't like even out with like the whole word. I took out the E originally because I was just like it doesn't look good, but then I changed the L for an I. So just MIDI. I just got it from the word middle because I'm a middle child, and it just came to my head. But yeah,
I
I
like it.
literally made it in like 2 minutes. I was like 11. But yeah, before that I was Lemonhead. But
All right, Lemonhead.
yeah,
I like Middi better. It's a better one. I think it's a solid brand too. Um, and lastly, what is your favorite Fortnite skin?
favorite Fortnite skin. Um, Probably Lara Croft. When I was doing really well in trios, that was the only skin I'd wear. That or the FNCS skin, like the green and white one. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah,
the
I
one
do.
that came out during the third trios of last year, I think. I'm not sure, but I think it was the primal season that it came out. But yeah, that
Okay.
that or the Larkoff.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you joining me, sharing your thoughts, sharing your experiences. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me. Super fun.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll have to run this back sometime soon. And thank you to everyone watching, listening, wherever you're consuming the podcast. Greatly appreciate you as well. Have any complaints, concerns, want to tell me where Middi is awesome, you can send me a DM, somebody's gun, on Twitter. That's the best place to reach me. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time. Peace.